For the cheapest and most reliable coins on the market, check out my sponsor Red Zone Coins, and for this week only, code SWIFT will give you 30% off any order. So family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another Madden 20 video on the channel, and in today's video we are going to be going over part 2 of my offensive scheme in Madden 20. In part 1 we went over all under center stuff, some nice passing concepts, as well as a few good rushing plays and how I like to run them. If you're interested in that, I will leave that linked down below in the description. I would definitely recommend everyone check that out after watching this, but in today's video we're going to be going over all gun stuff. I've got one nice gun formation and a few really good setups I'm excited to show you guys in today's video. Now if you want a part 3, leave a like down below. 500 likes, I'll do a part 3 going over some situational plays, some red zone dots and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, leave a like down below, would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's hop into this. I just want to mention two quick things. Firstly, this is out of the Raiders playbook. I would definitely recommend Raiders. And secondly, these setups I've seen on Twitch, I've seen on YouTube. I'm not really claiming credit for coming up with any of these. I'm just showing you guys what I run on offense, because a lot of people have been asking me on my Twitch streams, on my YouTube stream, Swift, what do you run on offense? So this video is here to show you guys that. Now without further ado, let's hop into this. The first thing we need to mention before we get into the scheme is where I would recommend you put your abilities, because that is very, very important and a very important aspect of MUT. So for abilities, I would recommend you have an ability on a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver. Now hopefully with your wide receiver or your quarterback ability, you're going to be able to put up corner routes on the field. For me and for most people have abilities on receivers such as slot apprentice or route apprentice, and those are going to allow you to throw up corners on the field basically anywhere. And whoever you have that ability on, I would recommend you move them to this spot right here. Most of the time they're going to line up right here because they're going to be your highest rated receiver. So to move them over to the left, all we're going to do is we're going to sub him once here, we're going to move right here, and we're going to throw in Adam Thielen. You can put in Treadwell back here if you would like. And now without further ado, let's hop into these plays and let's go over the setups that I like to run. So to start off, we're going to have to throw in our custom audibles. These are going to be all the plays I want to show you guys. Firstly, we have X dig. We also have flood, and finally we have mesh spot. Those are the plays that I mainly like to run out of this formation. We will start it off by going over X dig. I'm going to show you guys a few different setups for it, and we're going to actually flip this play so we can have Adam Thielen on the left side of the field, just to give us more versatility and be able to put up corner routes. So we're going to start it off with X dig, and then I'll move on to all the plays as well. On defense, I'll show you each of the plays against a cover 2, a cover 3, and a cover 1, or man coverage, and then at the end of the video I will just run all the plays and just audible between each of them going up against a random play. So let's start it off against X dig, and we will start it off by coming out in nickel, and we will come out in a cover 2 to show you guys exactly how I like to beat it. So against cover 2, X dig is a play that I really like. The main setup I'm going to do is I'm going to put Adam Thielen on a corner route, I'm going to put Kyle Rudolph on a streak, and I am going to block my running back. So this is what the play is going to look like. Against cover 2, you're going to have Adam Thielen open literally every single time on the pass lead upfield. You guys will see you can pass lead that upfield, and against cover 2, that is going to be open every single time. A lot of people like to run cover 2, and this is easily the best way to beat it. With your wide receiver abilities, you're going to be able to put Thielen on the corner super easily. So here we are, we just pass lead it upfield, we have Thielen wide open. A lot of what that's going to do is it's going to draw your opponent's user to go user over there. So let's say your opponent is usering as the middle linebacker, which is what a lot of people like to use as. Let's say he goes on and he users on Adam Thielen. The only way I can really mimic that is by throwing him in man coverage. So that's exactly what we're going to do just to mimic it. We will go back to our setup, and let's say you read, okay, Deion Jones or the middle linebacker is coming fast and he's covering up Adam Thielen. What you're going to do is you read the left side of the field, we see Deion Jones running over there, so we know we can't throw that route, and you're going to be able to hit digs over the middle of the field on the dig route. That backside dig is a really vital part of this entire scheme and something I would definitely recommend you guys run. Okay, so when it comes to cover 3 is usually pretty easy to identify. The reason for that is there's going to be one safety high. When there's one safety high, it makes it pretty easy to see either it's cover 3 or it's man coverage, and this setup I'm about to show you guys is going to be able to beat both cover 3 and man coverage as well. So the setup is very simple. When I see one safety high, instead of putting Kyle Rudolph on a streak route, I'm going to put him on a delay fade. I'm also going to block my running back, so we'll block my running back. We do that basically every time. And then instead of having a hitch on the right side of the field, we are going to put Treadwell on this drag route. So here we are, we're just going to snap this ball against cover 3. 3, you're gonna have the drag open literally every single time for actually a really big gain. This corner on the left side of the field, or actually the purple zone on the left side of the field, kind of gets sucked backwards into covering the corner. As you can see, the corner from Thielen, and then we're gonna have Treadwell underneath against a cover 3 really easily every single time. We can actually turn upfield and gain about 12 yards on this very simply. Now again, we still have this backside dig route. The backside dig is honestly a huge part of the scheme. Like I told you guys before, let's say my opponent's user is coming down to user on Treadwell, which is going to be very often. After you throw the drag a couple of times, they will come down and user very often. So you guys can see that we're going to have O on the low pass over the middle of the field very easily. Against a cover 3, you're not really going to be able to hit Thielen too easily. Usually that is going to be covered up. I mean, sometimes he'll be open right along the sideline super late, but that's pretty rare. Now let's say your opponent ends up covering up everything. They do a great job, and let's say they have like Campbell on this. Let's say they user here, they put this guy on a mid read or something, and they're able to totally lock down everything. You're still gonna have the delay fade super late. You roll out right, you see nothing, you can just hit the delay fade over the middle of the field if you have absolutely nothing open. I really love having that check down option, and that's essentially what I run for XDig to beat cover 3. Next up, let's move on to man coverage and how I like to beat that. So when I'm up against man coverage, I'm usually going to have the same setup as what I would run against a cover 2, because man coverage and cover 2 do usually look pretty similar. So you can keep this exact same setup if you'd like, or you can put Treadwell on a drag. It's going to be totally up to you. Both are going to beat man coverage pretty easily, but obviously, as you guys can see, the route to Thielen and the route to Diggs are what we're mainly going to be looking to. They're actually both on opposite sides of the field. Thielen's going to be on the left, Diggs is going to be on the right, so your opponent's user is going to have to make a decision. I'm not really going to spend too much time on man coverage. Man coverage is usually quite easy to beat in general. As you can see, we're going to have Diggs open over the middle of the field, and that's basically if your opponent uses Diggs, you throw to Thielen. If your opponent uses on Thielen, you're going to throw to Diggs. Very simple. Beating man coverage really isn't too tough, especially when you have good receiver abilities. Also, you should actually be able to hit Treadwell on the little hitch route. If you low pass it, they got a good animation. Let's say you're close to the end zone and your opponent's in man. It's a risky throw, but you can still make it. Man coverage, typically pretty easy to beat in this game. This is the main setup I like to run, and I'm honestly mainly going to be throwing this corner against man coverage. Okay, so next up, we are moving on to the play mesh spot. This one should be one of your custom audibles. I already talked about this, but it's really good to use to beat cover 2. We're going to use a very similar concept as I showed you guys before when we're beating cover 2, and basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be throwing Thielen on a corner, and we're going to put Treadwell on a streak. Now, when we're doing this setup, this is basically the same as last time. Last time I actually ran the play flipped, so I had my tight end on the left side of the field. This time we're not going to run it flipped, and we're going to have Thielen on the left side. I'm going to block my running back as well. Against the cover 2, we're going to have square wide open every single time on the pass lead upfield. Like I showed you guys before, this is the bread and butter. Against cover 2, you're throwing this route every single time. It is going to beat cover 2 so easily, and you don't really need to do that many setups to get this play going. All you're doing is throwing out the corner route, you're putting up a streak, and then you have the drag route underneath, which actually kind of occupies the corner for like a half a second and allows you to get the corner route in there even easier. So a super easy setup. Let's say your opponent goes to user on it, you're still going to be able to hit X underneath. I like having a solid number of checkdowns in this scheme. I feel like a lot of people don't throw checkdowns. Shout out to Throne for doing that in the community, but a lot of people don't throw checkdowns. I think checkdowns are honestly decently smart to run with the pass rushing abilities. It's tough to get behind the sticks in this game, in my opinion. So just having the check down there in case you need to take it. I'm not saying you need to, but in case you need to take it and your opponent does a good job of usering, it's nice to just have that there in case. But the corner route against cover 2 is bread and butter, and that's mainly what we're going to be throwing. Now, as we move on to a cover 3, this is where you guys can start to get really creative with this play. You'll probably notice that I did actually flip it. You guys don't have to run this flip if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. You can basically do whatever you'd like, but against cover 3, I would honestly recommend you guys flip it, and here is the setup that I've really been liking against cover 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to block our running back, we're going to throw Treadwell on a streak, and we're going to put Thielen on a crossing route. As you guys can see, we're going to have a pretty good concept on the right side of the field. You're going to have have Kyle Rudolph low in case you need to, and you have Thielen getting behind basically all zones on that crossing route to actually burn them in cover 3. Now, you also have Diggs on this very, very unique curl route. I absolutely love this curl route because a lot of the time your opponent's going to be using here or here, and they're going to be running all the way to this side of the field to try and take away either the crossing route, or they're going to be running all the way over here to take away the drag route, and sometimes you're just going to be able to hit Diggs over the middle of the field. It's a super nice kind of security blanket, and also a really unique security blanket. I don't see a lot of people actually hitting that route ever. So as you guys can see, we have Rudolph underneath if we want it, and we're also going to have Thielen over the middle of the field if we want to hit that as well. So the setup is very simple. We throw Thielen on this route right here. To do that, what you're going to do is you're going to click triangle, square, and then you're going to click up on the D-pad, and we're also going to throw Treadwell on a streak and block our running back. Again, the setup is quite simple. This is what it's going to look like. I would say this is a pretty unique play, and you guys will see that when you get the time in the pocket, you're going to be able to hit Thielen right there in between the zones against a cover 3. This exact setup is also going to be cover 2, basically any zone in the game. This setup is going to beat. I'm a really, really huge fan of this. I'm starting to like it a ton. A lot of the time, your opponent's going to be usering on these routes, so let's say he users on like the Thielen route, and then he users on like the drag route or something like that, or he has the manned up, whatever it is. A lot of the time when that ends up happening, you're gonna have Diggs wide open over the middle of the field. Like, that is what it's gonna look like a lot of the time, because your opponent's gonna have to go user on the 2 other routes, and then you have this over the middle of the field. It's super easy. It's really killer to hit that route, and I really, really like having it. Again, huge fan of this setup. You can do this to beat cover 2 or cover 3, totally up to you. I'm just showing it as the cover 3 beater, but it's gonna work against each of them, as Kirk Cousins makes probably the worst throw I've seen from a Madden quarterback this year. Let's just show you guys one final time what this should look like, as we had Thielen wide open. I'm not sure why that throw was so bad, but here we are. You guys will see Thielen is going to be wide open in between the zones. He's going to have to user that. If he uses that, then you can hit Rudolph down below or Diggs. So lots of versatility with this play. Against man coverage, I'm not really going to show you guys a ton of this play against man, because man coverage is really, really simple to beat. When you see man, what I would recommend you guys do is you throw Thielen on the corner route. Corner route is literally all you have to do to beat man coverage in this game. It is so easy, and you can keep the play stock otherwise. Just hit Thielen on the corner against man coverage. That is absolutely the way to go. He's going to beat man coverage every single time. It's really simple. When you see man coverage, put up a corner route and throw it to Thielen. So the final play that I want to show you guys is going to be the play Flood right here. As you can probably already tell, this is very, very similar concepts as the other plays I've showed you guys. In terms of beating cover 2, you're going to have Treadwell wide open on the left side of the field to beat cover 2 super easily. He's running very, very slowly. Usually you're going to have a faster receiver, but against cover 2, it's automatic. You just throw it to Treadwell. You don't even really need to pass lead upfield or have too much timing and anticipation. A lot of the time, he's just going to come open like super easily. You guys can see he's just wide open right there against the cover 2. That is so easy to exploit. I would recommend you exploit it every time, and exactly the same principles apply. Let's say he users on this route, so we move Campbell over there. I'll show you guys again. We're gonna have Diggs on the backside in route very, very easily. We're gonna block the tight end like we did before, and you guys will see Diggs comes open on the backside in route, especially when your opponent goes to user, and you're gonna be able to hit that route very, very easily. Now, next up, let's move on to a cover 3 with this play. It's a little bit more complicated when you're beating cover 3 with this play. I've got a couple of other plays I prefer, but I'll show you guys my setup for cover 3 with this one. Okay guys, so against the cover 3, I don't really have any crazy good setup out of this. I honestly prefer the other plays I showed you guys when I'm beating cover 3, but against the cover 3, you're honestly probably going to have to look pretty shallow. A lot of the time, you're going to have Rudolph really wide open. He kind of just comes free in between the zones right there, and he's going to be able to pick up quite a few yards. If you want, sometimes you can actually throw a Dalvin Cook right here. You can throw him on a wheel route. That's going to bring out the zones even more, and then you're just going to be able to hit Kyle Rudolph in that huge pocket of space. As you guys can see, you actually get a makeshift block from your running back when that happens sometimes. So I kind of like that setup against cover 3, but that's really it. I'm not really a huge fan of running this play against cover 3. I'll show you guys again how this works. As you can see, look at the safety on the right side of the field. Sometimes he ends up getting blocked by Dalvin Cook. Sometimes he gets pulled out, but not a huge fan of this against cover 3. I showed you guys other plays that I like more. Again, the last thing I want to show you guys, I guess, would be the inside zone. This is actually a really, really effective inside zone. You guys will see we pick up 5 yards. When your opponent comes out in like big dime or something like that, you can run this inside zone and just absolutely kill them with them. So next up, let's move on to this play against a random play, and I'll show you guys some of the setups I like to run. Okay guys, so now here we are up against a random play. I'll kind of talk you guys through what I'm thinking as I run these, but right off the bat, I'm seeing a cover 3 pretty easily, so we're gonna run our cover 3 beater. I really like this cover 3 beater. It's super hard to stop. I know I didn't have a ton of cover 3 beaters in this video, but this one is just so effective that honestly, your opponent's not gonna be able to stop it at all. They literally have to go user on that route every single time, and almost nothing is gonna stop it. Now next up, we'll go into something that's more of a cover 2 beater. As you guys will see, we're gonna run the play flood. You can run it to either side of the field, so we're gonna run this to the right side of the field. It doesn't really matter which side you run it to, especially for this flood play. The reason for that is because you're not gonna have to use any abilities on Thielen. You're not gonna be actually putting him on a corner route, so super easy to just run this flood play to the right side of the field. We have triangle wide open. That was a really easy way to identify cover 2. We'll just continue to run these. Hopefully you guys get some value from this at the end of the video. Here we are going against what looks to be a pretty soft box, so I'm actually just gonna switch to the inside zone, and you guys will see Dalvin Cook ends up picking up close to 10 yards. This scheme is super effective. I'm basically just running plays based on what I see from my opponent. So here we are. This looks to be some type of cover 2. We can go into X dig if you want. I like to switch up my beaters. I don't want to run the same play over and over again because sometimes my opponent's can be able to catch on. So we'll switch to this cover 2 beater. If it isn't a cover 2, we're still gonna have checkdowns, as it looks like it was actually a man blitz, and against a man blitz, you guys know the corner route to Thielen is gonna be open every single time, or even the backside in on that play. So here we are. They're in some type of soft zone. They're in what looks to be like prevent defense, so we're just gonna run the ball. Dalvin Cook ends up picking up close to 10 yards. That's pretty unrealistic. You're not usually gonna go against that, of course. But next play here looks to be a cover 2 or a man defense. We'll head on over to this cover 2 beater again. Pretty solid beater. I love hitting Thielen on the pass lead upfield. I feel like it honestly develops quicker as they actually are running man defense there. The corner out again is gonna absolutely toast that. Your opponent's literally gonna have to use that on every single play. So here they are. They look to be in man coverage again, or actually, sorry, they don't look to be in man. They look to be in a zone coverage again. Let me show you guys one other setup really quickly, just at the end of the video. This is something I've been kind of labbing up a tiny bit. Here's exactly what it's going to look like. We're going to run this. We're going to block our running back, and you're going to have Adam Thielen open on the far right side of the field every time. You're going to need quite a bit of time in the pocket, but as you guys will see, you guys are going to have square open as he ends up dropping that. I thought he was going to get open against the zone. That was just kind of an extra setup. That one's not a part of the video. We won't include that. But here we are going up against cover 3. We're going to go back to our cover 3 beater. Huge fan of this beater. I know I showed you guys a bunch of cover 2 beaters, but for cover 3, this is going to be absolutely the move. Square just gets open every single time so easily. Your opponent's going to have to use it, and then you can hit O or X. Like, honestly, that cover 3 beater is so fire. Here they are. They don't have too many people on the left side of the field, so we'll run the inside zone. Don't neglect running the inside zone. It's honestly going to be really effective. The blocking sets up well. If you've got some pretty good stick work, you'll actually be able to score touchdowns on it relatively easily if your opponent did something really soft. But yeah, that's basically going to do it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Definitely showed you guys some nice passing plays. I've got a lot more to show you guys in terms of some good adjustments you can run. I actually kind of left out a couple of things because I want to include those in part 3. So if you made it to the end and you have not yet clicked like, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's hit 500 likes on this one. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel again, and until next time, fellas, I'm out. Have a great rest of your day. Peace. So family.